Mr. Regal, everyone's talking, and man, I'll tell you what, it was something to see. I can't recall it ever being done better. I hate to call it a promo, I just want to call it in-ring reaction between you and MJF this week.
Yes.
MJF comes out. You referred to it on an earlier show. He's got what he feels is a beef, and you responded in kind.
Yeah.
First of all, do you have any reaction to the reaction to that?
No.
Because it's been all positive. Everybody is saying it's the most fantastic thing
Okay, that's
seen.
it. You see, you're saying everybody says, well, I don't read into my own stuff but this is a lesson in itself. I've got to that stage where because you don't want to eat your own head up and start analyzing stuff. When you're younger and you need positive critique or you need some kind of guidance of to where you go. We've talked about this in other episodes. I've never needed that, which is an incredible thing that I've had since I was a teenager. I've had really good pros, world-class pros, either guiding my career or helping me from day one. So the structure that I had, I could, if I came out the ring and from being a teenager and I didn't get told off by one of the people that I knew I was doing okay. Now that isn't the case, and that goes for this week.
That relates to what you're talking about with MJF, because he was needing that fee. He was 19 years old. First of all,
yes,
that all happened, right? Everything that happened, that he said happened, everything that you said happened, it happened just like that.
There's things that he seems to have. Again, what I said was all true in there. He's taken something that he's seen and not read it or not taken on board or forgotten what came previous, the previous encounters we had before that. And he has let that eat him up for 7 years. And I remember there was a lot going on at the time. There was a lot going on in my life at the time. But I took time to spend time with him, and he's seemed to have forgotten that. Or remembers it, but he doesn't remember it the same way I do. Because you're 19, and again, you're in a different world. This is how I'm starting this. Keep me on track here with this. Get back to this point, Matt. I have never needed, from being a teenager, I've had the right people there to tell me what I was doing right or wrong. So I've never had any guesswork. I mean, obviously you have to figure certain things out. When I came, that was going through all of my career before I came to America from being a teenager. Once I came to America, because of what I'd done in that time, if I came out the ring, I had Paul Orndorff and Arn Anderson and Ric Flair and Mr. Shivani and Mr. Ross and people and whoever and everybody and Dusty Rhodes and people that would give me feedback. And I know they knew better than me, so I would just listen. So if you're 19 years of age and you're getting a lot of information, if you know how I can ramble on this. Well, I was introduced to MJF or I was put in sort of on my radar by Matt Striker. Me and Matt get on well, and Matt's the first to admit a lot of people don't get on with Matt, and but I've always got on fine with him, great with him, and he put him on my radar. So I took extra time, and I saw how special MJF was, and I knew that. So I told him, look, send me. The one thing I do remember I haven't watched this back, but I do. There's a couple of things I have. Is the word umbrage with? It was getting me.
Umbrage is good.
Mixed up with other people, because I would never have called him kid. I never talk down to anybody. To me, when you call somebody kid, I never say that to anybody.
But perspective and memory is a funny thing.
Perspective and memory is a funny thing. that's it. But this is going to lead to a topic that will go into a lot of things. That's why I need you to keep me on point to bring me back to this. I've always had a incredible structure. I cannot thank any of the people enough for in my entire wrestling career. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. People wouldn't be listening to me. But I had this incredible structure. I didn't need outside, or if I had to second guess for a second or second guess myself, I had somebody to go to who was brilliant at this, always. Anybody else coming in from the 90s who've been to wrestling schools and stuff, it's hard to find people that, that you can find like that, right? It's a different world now. Everybody's got an opinion, and you're looking for, there's too many voices, and there's these things that if you're lucky enough to get somebody who knows what they're doing and is not full of their own nonsense and not a back in my day kind of a person, and just tells you how it is, you are very fortunate. I had that. And that's why my career was the way it was. MJF was... and here's one other thing. This is a reality. Find me any other person, any other person, come forward and have them, when I was doing my job in WWE, have them tell you that I didn't give them all of my time, or sent them an email that they didn't like, that wasn't helpful to them. If you can find me one other person, or that they can say they had a bad experience with me when I was doing my job. So he was put onto my radar, and I saw how incredibly talented he was, and I spent time with him in rooms at backstage at WWE. I talked to him with the other group of extras, as I used to do with everybody, and then I told him and I knew that was it. Somehow in his head, he's got this. When I asked him when he was 19, well, I obviously knew he was 19, and I said, just keep in touch. Well, after 2 emails, I've already told you, you're 19, you I can't hire you at the moment. Go and make a name for yourself. And I've also spent a lot of time telling you all these things that you need to work on. And being a really good microphone guy is another, when I say whatever you want to call it, a talker, promo person, whatever you want to talk it, that's one of them. But he was already good. That was how he came onto my radar, because Matt Striker said, oh, this lad's really good and really... So whatever it is, when he sent me that third email with basically the same thing that I've already seen, it was just everybody that I've ever met, that I've took in or I've mentioned, I've done stuff for. Daniel Bryan, I made a call, and he went and spent 4 years in England, living in not the most comfortable of digs, like accommodation, and you can read about it in his book. Daniel Wheeler out of FDR, same thing. Other people, same thing. Everybody, it all comes at a different way and a different thing. I've already told the lad twice, send me an email, but after twice, you're set, lad. You don't need to. So sending me another one when I've got 200 or more people trying to get a job, and the people I'm already dealing with, you're just taking up my time now. So it was more of a, look, I've told you that you don't need, and he even said that, I believe, that he sent me 2 emails and I told him not to send him any more, but he sent me another one. Am I right in saying that?
You're 100% right in saying that.
So why send me another one? And right, Matt, it was basically, look, listen, lad, I've told you, don't send me anymore. You're set. You're good. You just go out and make a name for yourself, which he did. And he went and got himself, did all the things that either whoever's taught him and the time he'd spent with me, he did all of that and got himself into the position. And that's what I wanted, right? So life lessons come like that. But he sent me a third one on a day when I was probably 50 emails in of people, poor people, that I wished I could have got an opportunity for. And I've already told him he's got an opportunity. Just it's going to take a while, and you just need to go out and make a name for yourself. No different than Sami Zayn had to get himself over on the Indies, Kevin Owens, whoever, anybody who's ever been associated with me has had to go out and do that hard work. I've told him twice, right? And I'm as nice as can be when I'm not in the ring, or when I don't have to be horrible William Regal sometimes.
Sure.
Right? So I've told him, and he even said that. He said, I told him, you don't need to send me any more. And and then he sends me another one. So that means to me, he's not listening. Number one, what do you need to be if you want to get on in this job? You better be able to listen and be coachable. So he's sending me something that's making me go, all right. Now at 19, he can say, and I was a 19-year-old kid. I grew up in England. You're not a kid at 19. I was married at 18. I bought a house when I was 18, right? I had to get into this job when you couldn't go to a bleeding wrestling school. You couldn't just turn up. And I wanted to laugh. I was like, it's like he's going off his nut here in front of me, and I'm just laughing because I'm like laughing at him because, oh, right, you went to a wrestling school for 12 weeks. Oh, well, I'm so sorry for you. When I had to leave home, and when there was no way of getting into this job, I had to leave home and live. I lived in a little tiny room with a little tiny bed for 2 years before, just under 2 years, with water dripping on the bed in the winter, freezing cold, and truly crying myself to sleep nightly because I was getting beaten up regularly. You're not a kid at 19 to me. If you are, maybe you've had too easy of a bringing up. Maybe he's a bit too soft. And he needs, right? I've told the lad twice, right? Right? I don't care what this younger generation think. I'm really sorry if I've helped you as much as, and I did get it. I brought that point up. Again, I haven't watched it, but I brought that point up. You forgetting that the fact that I spent a lot of time, even if it was only on one day, I took you into a room and spent several hours of my time telling you things, or sat in a group of people telling you things that you need to do. And I've told you, don't send me another email because it's where I need that time to spend trying to get 200. I wished I could, every single person who had ever sent me an email, I wished I could have got them a job. Last summer, when WWE, I was working for them, and they decided to change philosophies. I went through an entire list of people who I'd been keeping in touch with, some of them for 7 years. And they were sending me regularly because and there was just never a place for them, or sometimes, unfortunately, they just weren't very good. But I used to think, if I don't try and help them, who else is going to help them?
Who will?
Who will? Because there isn't the structure that I have. That's always been my philosophy. Why do you think all these people who've ever had anything to do with me say these things about me? This is Darren now. This is not the William Regal.
You're getting pissed off.
Yeah, I'm getting mad now because this has bothered me. That he has to, him in his mind has held on to this. Well, first of all, it's bothered me, but it hasn't bothered me because what I said was real the other day. If all it took was for you to get an extra email that I've told you not to send me, to get you fired up to be this good at what you're doing, job done. The job. But it actually is sad that you have let that be a problem for you for 7 years. If you'd have just said, if I'd have, again, he doesn't remember this. It's common knowledge now. Not long after we met, I was a year, not long after, I had 2 bleeds on the brain, and I was away for WWE kept me completely isolated from everything, stopped emails coming in, being incredibly brilliant to me because I was having treatment because I had 3 weeks amnesia and 2 bleeds on the brain. And they stopped all emails coming to me. So there was a lot of people, Ricky Starks being one of them, Sammy Guevara being another person, that I sort of just went on the missing list for a long time. You don't hear them moaning about me. He has took something and he's made it into something else. Maybe at 19, again, I don't consider you a kid. Maybe if you are, you've had too much of a sheltered life. Maybe at 19, maybe that's showing you that he wasn't ready to be in. Because if one email gets him all that upset and it fires him up, do you think he'd have lasted getting? Imagine him turning up at not just whatever wrestling school he went to,